One of the most difficult things to undertake is caring for an elderly parent. Here now to tell us how we do it, Molly, Rees, Gavin from the Connecticut Community Care, Inc.
Thank you.
Tough situation, right? Everyone at some point will deal with this, or they're dealing with it now. Mom or dad growing older, grandma growing older, not able to take care of themselves as well. The importance first of estate planning, because before you get into the whole healthcare thing, you've got to have that tough conversation at some point about making sure you protect assets. Talk about the importance of having that conversation early.
The most important thing, Stan, that any family can do is to deal with all kinds of planning issues in advance. Estate planning is exceptionally important because people need to be very clear up front regarding how they want their assets and how they want their income to be treated and to be dispersed. And it is particularly important if there is the chance that a person might become eligible for Medicaid, for support from the state and federal government under the Medicaid program. So making the right financial decisions as we go along is exceptionally important.
A lot of parents don't want to give up their property or their rights or to give it to their kids so early. They get a little nervous about that because of control issues. But as you said, if you have to go to Medicaid, there's a 5-year look back. And so many families have been wiped out financially because all the hard-earned savings the family did over the years with a stay in a nursing home can be wiped out in 8 to 10 months. And they realize, and there's nothing there. So a lot of folks who are ahead of the curve will, well ahead of time, in their 50s, begin to divest of assets and put them in their children's names, and too many folks find out after the fact the importance of doing that.
And the best advice that Connecticut Community Care could give to a family is to consult an attorney whose expertise is elder care and estate planning. The saddest moment is often when a family comes and said, well, you know, my mom and dad had an attorney 20 years ago who helped them to buy the house, and that's who we're going to go to, the person who helped the closing on the house. That's who we're going to go to for the estate planning aspects of it. And we really encourage people to look for the expertise in elder law and in trust and estate work in order to do that very important part of planning.
There's no shame in trying to protect whatever assets you have, right? Do it early and do it often.
And do it legally and appropriately with the right expertise.
All
exactly.
Right. What about myths out there? When people are dealing with this now, there's some myths out there. And one myth that's all baffling is that one is that don't assume that everyone has the best interest at heart for the parent. Talk about that.
That's a hard thing to talk about, you know, and I think a lot of us carry around the idea that everybody loves their mother and father and that every family is a happy family, and really we should all know better that that isn't the case. So you not infrequently find adult children suddenly being expected to provide care for mom and dad who, frankly, they haven't had anything to do with for the last 20 or 30 years.
So they don't have the caring, or and they give substandard care, or just don't, they're ambivalent to trying to take care of them?
They really don't want to have anything to do with having to provide care. And of course, that's the exception and not the rule.
But that's the reality.
But that older adult still needs care, and that family needs help in figuring out what kind of care that they're going to provide for their loved ones so that those siblings don't have to do the care provision if they don't want to do that.
How about the assumption that the doctor knows best?
It's another very, very frequent stereotype or myth regarding elder care.
Why?
Well, let me give you an example. You'll have a loving family come in to meet with a Connecticut Community Care manager, and the family will say, we talked to mom's doctor, and the doctor said that mom needs 24-hour-a-day care. And that family may have expended tens of thousands of dollars in providing care 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, where maybe if a geriatric care manager had gone into that house, evaluated the situation, they may have found out that mom could have gotten by with a few hours of home health aid service. Maybe mom could have gone to adult daycare. Maybe she could have had some less expensive care plan, not the 24-hour care that the well-intentioned physician thought she needed.
We have about 45 seconds, and I want to go through something real quick. Now let's go to what happens if not in deciding in caring for an elderly parent. You mentioned planning early. Modifying the home, real quick, when you say modify the home, there's certain provisions you have to make sometimes to make sure mom or dad or grandma are comfortable. Real quick, 2 quick points there.
So 2 points there would be, number one, you really want to look at bathrooms and kitchens in particular. There are things that can be done very effectively cost-wise and care-wise in terms of tub rails and other quick fixes in the bathroom to make it safer. So you really want people to look at bathrooms, kitchens, and anything that could cause falls. Fall prevention is a major issue for older adults.
You mentioned real quick putting your oxygen mask on. What does that mean in 5 seconds?
To me, that means that the caregiver, the stress and the burden that the caregiver experiences can be extreme. A caregiver, a family caregiver, needs to take care of themselves. Just like on that airplane, you've got to put your oxygen mask on first.
Self-care.
You need to do that, your own self-care, before you can care for anybody else.
Now, when it's time to send them to a nursing home, 15 seconds, that burden, that issue of being burned out is huge. If you're feeling burned out, if you don't feel you can take care of the elderly parent anymore, when do you say, you know what, this is time to go to a full 24-service nursing home? What indicator?
When a family feels that the stress in that family unit is so extreme that it is affecting their marriage, it is affecting caring for their kids, it's affecting the quality of their work life, families need to give that a thought. People need to give that a thought. There is no negative shame in having your loved one in a nursing home.
All right, thank you for your time. We're out of time. Thanks to all our guests, Rennie Folco, Chris Keating, Sal Bonanno, Jim Bergen, Molly Rees. We said her already. You can send your show comments or your requests or comments to ctnow.com and friend us on Facebook. Become a fan of The Stan Simpson Show. We're on Twitter, too, so look out for our tweets. Lori Perez and The Real Story are next for the good folks here at Fox 61. I'm Stan Simpson. We'll see you next week.